The First Lady in absentia, Dr. Aim Nangagwa. The Vice President, Honorable General Retired, Dr. CGDN Chiwenga, again in absentia. Honorable Vice President, Colonel Retired, Dr. KCD Moadi. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Advocate JFN Mdenda, President of the Senate, Honorable MM Chinomona, the Chief Justice, Honorable Luke Malava, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers who are here, the President of the Chiefs Council, Chief M. Kumalo, and other traditional leaders who are present, Honorable Members of Parliament and the Senate, senior government officials, Commander Zimbabwe Defense Forces, General P.V. Swanda, service chiefs, fellow Zimbabweans at home and in the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, I'm once again singularly honored and privileged to address this august house, marking the third session of the 10th Parliament of the Republic of Zimbabwe. The official opening of the third session of the 10th Parliament comes in the work of the commemorations of the SADC Anti-Sanctions Day. The sanctions notwithstanding, I'm extremely grateful to all our citizens, including those in the diaspora, for contributing to the grand task of nation building in a peaceful and tranquil environment. The unity, peace, and resilience of our people have been the pillar of economic development of our country in the face of the illegal sanctions imposed by the West. Let us remain focused and disciplined as we entrench the current economic stability and growth in our march towards Vision 2030. The national economy is projected to grow by 6.6% in 2025, encouraged on recovery in the agricultural sector with record harvests of tobacco, maize, and wheat, among other crops. These are a result of the implementation of the agriculture, food systems, and rural transformation strategy. Under the strategy, the Pfumvudza Intwasa program has empowered over 3 million households with inputs. The livestock sector continues to grow, with the national head now at 5.7 million, while milk production has increased from 76.7 million liters in 2019 to 115 million liters in 2024. Again, congratulations to us, Zimbabwe. Through the Rural Development 8.0 initiative, boreholes that are being drilled and resuscitated by my administration are ensuring access to water for production, village business unity, and domestic use. The area under irrigation is expanded from 151,000 hectares in 2019 to now 221,000 hectares in 2024. We are well on course to reach our target of 496,000 hectares. These initiatives have gone a long way in our quest to build climate resilience, mitigation, and adaptation. Meanwhile, the modernization of the Grain Marketing Board is ongoing, in line with new technologies, with the construction of 14 new artificial intelligence-driven silo sites, resulting in an additional 750,000 tons of storage capacity. The accelerated issuance of bankable and registrable title deeds for A1 and A2 farmers, as well as deeds of grant for previously African purchase areas, is set to have transformational impacts in our agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, and Madam President, the mining sector has witnessed increased investments in gold, lithium, iron, and steel production. The commissioning of new plants, independent power generating units, and energy parks, among others, are ensuring that all sectors achieve targets with regards to value addition, beneficiation, job creation, and the growth of our gross domestic product. The Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill has been gazetted and is expected to be finalized during the current session of Parliament. My government is committed to weeding out irresponsible mining stakeholders who cause pollution, degradation of the environment, and damage to critical infrastructure. As we welcome investors in our jurisdiction, we expect that they will adhere to the Constitution and the laws of our country, while also respecting our people, respecting our customs, and respecting our culture. Mr. Speaker and Madam President, since my last address, the manufacturing sector registered a 15.3% contribution to GDP. The success is attributable to significant investments in the steel, cement, dairy, cotton to clothing, and pharmaceutical value chains, among others. The Zimbabwe Industrial Reconstruction and Growth Plan, Rural Industrialization, and the Community Economic Empowerment Trusts will result in increased production, leveraging on our resource endowments. I urge our people to take advantage of the new policy approved by Cabinet on Community Economic Empowerment Trusts and reserved sectors for our people. My government has reviewed licenses, permits, levies, and fees, as well as the multiple regulatory requirements across all sectors to enhance the country's ease of doing business. Reduction of costs and the competitiveness of the local industry. The respective statutory instruments and statutes will be accordingly amended. Tourism is emerging as a critical pillar in our nation's economic transformation. The sector's solid performance has received global recognition, with Zimbabwe being recently awarded the best must-visit destination in the world. An accolade by Forbes magazine. Accordingly, Parliament is hereby called upon to expedite the passage of the Tourism Amendment Bill in order to sufficiently support the sector's growth trajectory. A number of independent power producers, the IPPs, captive power producers, CPPs, commercial and industrial players have been licensed. Their onboarding into our national grid has increased the power supply in our country. The rural electrification program, that is electrifying both public institutions and homesteads throughout the country, is improving energy access by our rural communities. No one and no place will be left behind. Meanwhile, the country continues to enjoy adequate fuel supplies, benefiting from upgrading of the pipeline capacity to 3 billion liters per month, per annum, sorry. Pipeline capacity will be further upgraded to handle 5 billion liters per annum. Mr. Speaker, sir, and Madam President, infrastructure upgrading and development projects are steadily progressing through innovative funding models by Treasury, private sector financing, as well as support from development partners. Completion, rehabilitation, and upgrading of the Harare-Chirundu Road, Christmas Pass, Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road, Chirundu Border Post, and the Forbes Border Post remain top priority. The construction of other road infrastructure, such as interchanges at strategic points in our cities, are on the cards, with the Trabablas, with the Trabablas interchange now operational. Notable progress has been registered in implementing the Zimbabwe Integrated Transport Information Managing System project, which includes automating services at the Vehicle Inspectorate Department, Central Vehicle Registry, and Road Motor Transportation. Mr. Speaker, sir, and Madam President, the tight monetary and fiscal environment in the economy have remained favorable to support sustained economic activity. My government is diligently implementing the necessary policies, measures, and initiatives to maintain currency stability of the ZiG and inflation. Going into the future, the trend in macroeconomic stability is expected to become the status quo in our country. The country's foreign currency generation capacity continues to strengthen. Inflows stood at US 10.4 billion as of August 2025, which is an upward increase of 26.8% from the US 8.3 billion recorded during the same period last year. Consequently, foreign currency reserves increased to about $900 million US as at the end of September 2025, up from $700 million in June 2025. In recognition of this effort, the World Bank recently ranked Zimbabwe first among the top 10 countries in the world that have made significant progress in foreign currency reserves accumulation. Atina influence the World Bank. On the fiscal front, I am pleased to advise that we remain steadfast in strengthening sustainable resource mobilization strategies to ensure provision of public services. Enhanced fiscal capacity has allowed the government to extend social benefits to vulnerable groups under social protection programs, including the Food Deficit Mitigation Program, the Basic Education Assistance Module, the Vulnerable Agriculture Input Scheme. These interventions reflect our unwavering commitment to building a comprehensive and resilient social protection system that safeguards women, children, persons with disabilities, and the elderly, among others. Our health sector is undergoing a significant development program focusing on strengthening human resources, improving health financing, and modernizing infrastructure and technology. These efforts aim to improve healthcare access and quality with a focus on maternal and child health, disease prevention, and digital health integration. Similarly, in the education sector, key initiatives include human capital development, promoting entrepreneurship, creating public-private partnerships for infrastructure, and increasing access to education to a broader array of our students, in particular the vulnerable. Furthermore, my government remains committed to driving innovation for national growth and delivering a beneficial knowledge economy. The Digital Ambassadors Program thus aims to equip young people with digital skills and enhance ICT literacy. It is worth highlighting that my government recently adopted the Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence A1 strategy, designed to harness the economic potential of artificial intelligence while mitigating its undesirable impacts. Mr. Speaker and Madam President, several new laws have been promulgated and existing ones continue to be amended to eliminate gender imbalances and promote the achievement of gender equality in our society. This should see increased participation of women across value chains. So, my men folk should not complain when I continue to promote women. The launch of the National Youth Empowerment Strategy 2026 to 2030 is transformative towards harnessing the potential of our young people in national development. Additionally, the upgrade of vocational training centers will see a stronger base for industrial growth. This will improve quality, relevance, and inclusivity of the vocational skills training programs. My government is providing welfare services to veterans of the liberation struggle, heroes, dependents, and the war victims, as well as empowering and mainstreaming all categories of veterans to fully participate in the economy and guarantee their welfare. In that regard, Presidential War Veterans Empowerment Revolving Fund, the Presidential War Veterans Empowerment Program, and the Presidential Empowerment Scheme for Children of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle were launched. After successful implementation of the food deficit mitigation strategy during the El Nino-induced drought experienced during the 2023-2024 summer cropping season, government will continue with the program to cater for food insecure households. Our ZANU-PF-led government will also continue with harmonized social cash transfers to increase the purchasing power of vulnerable groups. Regrettably, the scourge of drug and substance abuse remains a major concern to all communities in our beloved motherland, Zimbabwe. Comprehensive and all-encompassing strategies are being implemented by all stakeholders in our country to mitigate the negative impact of this menace. We commend the coming on board of more civic society organizations, including the Angel of Hope Foundation and the private sector in the fight against drug and substance abuse. My dear Mr. Speaker and Madam President, government has made strides in upgrading the media landscape through modernization of the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation's Montrose studio in Bulawayo. Additionally, the ZBC's Luzivo Radio, which is a new education channel, was established in order to bridge educational content directly to learners across the country. The enactment of the Broadcasting Services Amendment Act has introduced very progressive media reforms, which broadened the scope of the Act to encompass, among other issues, the emerging digital broadcasting services. I'm pleased to highlight that substantial progress has been recorded in the implementation of the local government blueprint and a call to action no compromise to self-delivery, end of quote. All our local authorities have developed master plans, and all 92 councils completed evaluation roles, with 91 of them having deployed enterprise resource planning systems to modernize their operations. Only one is left. In response to climate change, my government has adopted the National Climate Change Adaptation Plan, the Carbon Trading Framework and Registry, outlined in Statutory Instrument 48 of 2025, is said to unlock climate finance and promote mitigation efforts across all economic sectors. Relatedly, water security is emerging as a critical challenge with implications for energy and the food systems. In this regard, my government is scaling up integrated water resource management and investments. In line with our engagement and re-engagement program, my government is implementing its policy on foreign relations and international cooperation. In this regard, Zimbabwe remains committed to further deepening political, economic, educational, scientific, innovation and cultural relations with all countries of the international community. We are pleased as Zimbabwe to have won the bid to host the continental headquarters of the Intra-Africa Trade Fair Company. Congratulations. Mr. Speaker, Madam President, the importance of the timeless discharge of legislative duties reposed in Parliament cannot be overemphasized. Parliament is reminded that laws passed by this august House carry the hopes and aspirations of our people and consist of central policies for implementation by the executive. It is therefore critically important that the law-making process be expedited for the efficient operation of state apparatus. Collectively, we have a duty to sustain the prevailing confidence that the people of our country have in our governance system. Allow me now to turn to the legislative program, which the third session of the 10th Parliament must pursue with renewed vigor and focus. The outstanding bills from the first and second sessions that represented the Parliament must be concluded. These include the following: Occupational Safety and Health Bill, the Public Service Amendment Bill, the State Service Pension Bill, the Pipelines Amendment Bill, Persons with Disability Bill, Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Bill, the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill, Insurance and Pensions Amendment Bill, and Zimbabwe School Examinations Council Bill. Please process them. Regrettably, there are additional bills that I announced during the official opening of the second session of the 10th Parliament of Zimbabwe that have not been presented to Parliament. These include the Teaching Professions Council's Bill, Electronic Transactions and Electronic Commerce Bill. Zvinonakidza. Brought before Parliament the Sugar Production Control Act. To further protect in the commercial rental market, amendment of the Research Act aims at establishing a deliberate and sustainable framework for funding research to facilitate adequate resources for research institutions. This is in line with my administration's ongoing quest to promote locally developed solutions and innovation while reducing dependency on imported technologies. In the higher and tertiary education sector, government is working on a legislative framework for the accelerated commercialization of products emanating from our innovation hubs. A notable number of bills are set to be tabled before this Augusta House from our transport sector for enactment and amendment. Equally, bills that relate to the devolution and decentralization agenda, as well as the broader local governance arena, will be presented before this esteemed body. To mitigate disaster and other unforeseen catastrophes, the Civil Protection Act will be repealed, replaced with the proposed Disaster Risk Management Bill. Other bills to be considered amendments to the Veterans of the Liberation Act, National Heroes Act, and the War Victims Compensation Act. Mr. Speaker and Madam President, the Police Amendment Bill, which lapsed with the dissolution of the 9th Parliament, should be reintroduced in this session. To consolidate the management and administration of aspects relating to our home affairs, the following laws should be considered for amendment: the Unlawful Organization Act, Official Secrets Act, National Archives of Zimbabwe Act, the Censorship and Entertainment Control Act, Lotteries and Gaming Act, the Citizenship Act, and the Private Investigators and Security Guards Control Act. In line with the constitutional mandate of safeguarding the country's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, national interest, and contribution to international peace and security, the Minister of Defense will be required to table the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and the Arms Trade Treaty, as well as the Red Cross Amendment Bill and the Defense Amendment Bill. The following protocols, treaties, and agreements will be brought for ratification: Protocol amending the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights amendment protocol of 2005, the Lisbon Treaty to the Geneva Act of the Lisbon Agreement on appellations of origin and geographical indications, and the Hague Agreement concerning the international registration of industrial designs. The protocol against the smuggling of immigrants by land, by sea, by air, as well as the protocol on the trafficking of firearms, their parts, components, and ammunition will be tabled during this session of Parliament. Mr. Speaker and Madam President, as I conclude, may I pay special tribute to the honorable members of Parliament. Your tireless individual and collective efforts towards advancing the development and prosperity of our great motherland, Zimbabwe, is commended. Through your wholehearted service and representation of the grassroots communities, you all continue to consolidate our people-centered and participatory governance. As we keep marching towards Vision 2030, let us remain close to the people in good times and throughout the seasons of challenges. We should never get tired of preaching hope. We should never get tired of preaching unity and peace as one indivisible nation. Be assured that a better quality of life for all our people and our country is at the core of the policies and projects of my administration. No one and no place will be left behind. As we approach the summer cropping season, I urge honorable members of Parliament to continuously lead from the front and encourage increased production and productivity across our communities. Together, we must guarantee adequate preparations for this agricultural season and yet another bumper harvest. I thank you.